Hi, welcome to today's session. My name is Mariana.
And I'm Jean Grazino.
We're part of the platform and solutions strategy team here at OutSystems, and we're here to talk a bit about omni-channel customer journeys and how you can achieve speed and flexibility with them in the cloud. So customers expect effortless experiences. We all do as customers ourselves. And effortless more and more means digital, especially in 2020, where people became used to using digital channels. We found that most of us got pretty comfortable with them. So McKinsey did a recent survey, and in fact, 20 to 40% of customers will continue to use or intend to continue using these digital channels even after the pandemic ends. Effortless also means right now. So we're all very impatient. In fact, a couple of years ago, a banking company did a study and found that about 95% of Americans willingly consume hot beverages and burn their mouths. I don't think this is just a thing with Americans. I think we all do this kind of thing. If you think about how many times you press your elevator button, you will likely realize that we're all very impatient. So what this means is that to be successful at customer experience, you need to have this relentless focus on removing friction across your full customer journey. So right from the moment a customer becomes aware of your brand or visits your website, right until when they first buy their first product or subscribe to their first service with you, all the way down to when they're loyal customers and buy repeatedly from you, you need to have this continuous focus on removing friction. Now, here's where friction can have a pretty high cost in new customer acquisition. So attracting new customers is very costly, and it's very costly for every company. We know that it costs on average 5 times more to acquire a new customer than it does to retain an existing one. And like with everything else in onboarding journeys, digital is now plan A. And we know that digital first onboarding journeys generate a lot more satisfaction, so about 10 to 20% more than your traditional onboarding that required visiting a physical branch or store. But despite knowing this, most onboarding journeys are still riddled with friction. So for example, in banking, it can take you anywhere from 24 to 140 clicks to open a new bank account. Usually this is the result of very long forms requiring users to type a lot of information. And what it does, it makes people lose patience, right? So 40% of customers end up abandoning these journeys. Now, simplicity is critical, but it's more than just clicks. It's about having a really simple, self-guided journey that is really, really easy to understand, like guiding your customers through all of the steps that they need to buy from you. It's also about having an omni-channel experience. So rather than imposing a channel upon your customers, is letting them choose what channel they want to use. It's also, again, back to impatient, fast time to completion. So if you have an onboarding journey that has 5 steps, and then your customer receives a notification that it will take 5 to 10 business days to get back to them, that ends up not being a very good experience. So being right now is really important. Now, it's also about being mobile first. We all got very used to using our mobile devices for everything, and buying new products and services is no exception. So having that really mobile optimized experience is also critical. Now, things won't always go right, no matter how much you test your onboarding journey. So even if it's very self-guided, very simple, your customers may struggle. And so having a process in place so that your customer can have immediate support and proceed on their journey is also critical. And then last, but definitely not least, personalization. So every company is unique, every product is unique, and every customer is unique. So your onboarding journey needs to be really tailored, really personalized to account for these 3 things. Now, you need to do all of this, and it's not a short list, but you still need to make sure that you meet security, business, and regulatory requirements, right? You need to make sure that you're collecting very sensitive information from customers, such as banking information, you're collecting IDs, you're collecting sometimes health information, and that needs to be made in a secure way. And you also need to have access to certain data in order to be able to sell your products or your services. So say if you're a health insurance company, you need to have certain data about your customers' pre-existing illnesses. And also regulatory requirements cannot be ignored at all. 2020, for example, has seen the biggest increase in fines, for example, in banking for not meeting KYC and anti-money laundering legislation.
Thank you, Mariana. Now, let's look at the basic anatomy of a customer onboarding journey. How is it built? Now, here, what we are highlighting here obviously depends on the multiple different types of industries and regulatory requirements from different geos. But it typically starts with a welcome screen that explains how the application works and what type of information we're collecting, sometimes even stating GDPR requirements. And then we collect that information, that personal information that allows the company to know who it's talking to. Things like name, address, mobile phone number, email. And this is one of the steps that allows the company to continue this relationship, even if the person somehow drops on the onboarding process. Then there's some form of user authentication that makes sure that this person that is onboarding the journey is who he says he is. After that, there's usually steps on that require uploading documentation to support the new service, and things like utility contracts, proof of residence, or ID cards are required in this step. We also need to validate the identity of this person through trust of the third party. Many companies are, however, still sending potential customers to their branches to complete the process, which is a point of friction, like Mariana just mentioned. Lastly, we want to make sure that this person is committing to the new service and he or she is signing up for, and usually this comes with document signatures, which is usually a legal requirement in some industries. Now, there's some questions you need to ask yourself when we're designing these onboarding journeys. Do we really need all that information from someone who is not a customer yet? Do you already have this information somewhere, or you can infer it? And can you get it from somewhere else? And if not, is there a better way to get it than having users typing it in? Especially now that most people are doing onboarding journeys on their mobile phones. Now, IT can play a decisive role in the company's customer acquisition efforts. IT knows the art of possible and how it can leverage new technologies to remove the friction for new customer onboarding journeys. Doing that means that you can have a very direct impact on customer acquisition costs and revenue growth. So as I was going through all of these steps in the journey, you're probably already thinking about the multiple different ways in which you usually provide this information to companies that do this really well. The applications you use every day as a consumer, or even sometimes in your work life. For instance, you can get personal information from social IDs that conveniently already provide the first level of authentication. For user authentication, for instance, many customers use the now becoming standard text message with code to validate the user's mobile phone, or even the old email with confirmation. These are all delegations of authentication through third-party entities that are trusted. For document uploading on mobile, for instance, you can use the camera, for which OutSystems provides a plugin, but you could also get a lot of personal information through text recognition on driver's licenses, passports, invoices, and we will have a demo of a cool customer story we have. Another option you have is to use Amazon's recognition, for instance, to compare face on an ID card and a selfie of the user taken with the device's camera. And this provides a first layer of trustworthiness, right? Lastly, you can integrate with services such as DocuSign for trusted signatures, or even in some cases, a simple sign on glass. Now, getting a new app like this to market takes months or years. We need to define the requirements, we need to design the journey, we need to test it with users, we need to develop it and do additional user testing. We need to deploy it to production. And then if you find that a lot of users are dropping, say at the step where they need to input their address because they can get their address to the input field or something, you need to iterate and go through this long process again. Your customers are moving at rocket speed and their expectations change at rocket speed. Yet you're on a sailboat and it takes you a long time to meet them and you're losing money in the meantime. Also, great delightful UX UI is very hard to achieve. It needs a lot of user testing, very experienced developers, highly specialized developers that are very hard to get by. And the analogy we're playing at here is that if we don't have this design done right, you end up with a lot of friction. You end up with huge forms, with a lot of inputs and redundant information having to be input on the application. So the fact that a good onboarding journey is omnichannel adds even more complexity to this. You can't have an onboarding process on only one channel and force that upon your customers. Say, for example, if you built your onboarding journey on a native mobile app and you require people to download it from the stores, this adds a lot of friction. We got a stat from AppStats that says that more than 50% of smartphone users in the US download 0 mobile apps per month. So a good customer onboarding journey should be available on multiple channels so that customers can choose from the one that's most convenient to them. The problem is that you end up with multiple development teams working on different technologies to build for Android, iOS, web, potentially also chatbot. We already know it takes a long time to build one, to get one application to market. Imagine getting at least 4. And to add to these channels, there's massive data and capabilities that are scattered across systems. You need to provide a good experience in your customer and partner facing apps across these different systems. For example, the latest marketing technology mega map that outlines all the marketing technology vendors companies use to support their digital customer journeys. This clocked 8,000 different vendors, and this is a number that keeps increasing every single day. So, Mariana, is there hope?
Yes, there is hope. So we'd like to talk to you about some of our customers who've been able to achieve this. So a good example is Think Money, who's a banking customer out of the UK, and they did their fully digital onboarding journey. They got the first version live in 7 weeks. And in the first 4 weeks, they saw a 30% conversion increase in their customers. And they also saw, as we were saying earlier, acquiring new customers is very costly. So as the more you convert them, the better. They saw 21% reduction in customer acquisition marketing costs. Now, what's great about this team is that they've connected this app to their user analytics platform, and they're continuously monitoring where people are dropping off, and they're doing continuous iteration on that onboarding journey so that they can keep improving it. Another great example, again, a banking company, but a different one, Yorkshire Building Society. So they've been in business for almost 100 years, and they've built a new mortgage calculator and online savings account opening. So for example, for the mortgage calculator, it took them 3 months to get it to market, and they saw a 54% higher conversion rate just on that app alone. Another good example here, again, financial services, but this is actually a new digital product. So Credibility, based out of the UK, built a new financial well-being app with a personal assistant chatbot. What this company does is it helps you increase your credit score. So they got their first app to market in 5 months, and this is 33% faster when compared to traditional development. And they were also able to integrate with partner APIs to get their customers the best deals on, say, opening new bank accounts or getting additional services. And the fact is that this new product or this new business model has helped them achieve great results. They have a 4.7 average rating on Google Business. So how have these companies been able to achieve these results? They used a cloud-based modern application platform, OutSystems. What OutSystems does is it massively accelerates developer productivity. So it speeds up and simplifies the app development process with AI technology and visual development that helps developers automate those repetitive, complex tasks. It helps them predict next steps, and it suggests solutions as well as validate their work patterns. So developers can spend a lot less time on these lower value activities and spend a lot more time really thinking about how to hone in on the experience and how to make that great app that users will love. The other great thing is that OutSystems allows you to unify omnichannel development. So as João was saying earlier, with traditional development, you have multiple teams, multiple technologies to build the same app on multiple channels. With OutSystems, you use a single platform and a single development team, and you build the application once and make it available across any channel that your customers want or need. Now, at this stage, you might be thinking, this is great, I get speed, but I'm sure this will come at the expense of quality. And by quality, I mean experience quality, which is something that as no company can afford, really. Now, at OutSystems, we make a huge effort, and we have huge teams dedicated to really making sure that we offer companies a lot of pre-built templates, components, UX, UI components, screen templates, user flows that really allow you to deliver great experiences at speed. So think about things like carousels, drop-downs, accordion patterns that you can use out of the box and come with best practices built in. Now, you're never really limited in what you can build, though. You can use these pre-built components, but you can also either fully customize and extend them or build your own from scratch. The other important thing is customer-facing applications really need to meet your branding guidelines. They need to be consistent. So the platforms allows you to have a managed design system with reusable components that meet your branding guidelines and that you can use across all channels. Also, all of the UIs that you build with OutSystems have great performance, so you won't get a slow app. You will get a lightning fast application that will boost your SEO rankings, which again for onboarding journeys is really important. And you can deploy any mobile app as a PWA to avoid having your users having to go through the app stores to download them.
We also make sure your applications are secure and scalable. OutSystems has enterprise-grade security. We offer from design time to runtime over 270 built-in security checks. Our teams are constantly monitoring for new security threats and universally harden every application built with the platform in one click in face of the newly discovered threats. We also have mission-critical scalability. We take advantage of the cloud-native architecture offered by AWS, and we also allow horizontal and vertical scalability, allowing our customers to add a number of front ends or increasing the machine class they have for our cloud customers. So let's take a look at how all of this comes together from one of our customers, Galp, in the energy and utilities market. This customer was able to massively compress the time to onboard new customers to just 3 minutes.
Traditionally, signing up to a new gas and electricity contract is time-consuming and bureaucratic, taking 15 minutes or much longer. Galp's 3 Minutes Contract project aimed to simplify that process, cutting the time needed for new customers to onboard to, you guessed it, just 3 minutes. Providing a frictionless sign-up process drives business growth, especially in business-to-consumer sectors. Developed as an omnichannel solution, the 3-Minute app works across all devices, including touchscreen self-service kiosks at Galp's gas stations. The app seamlessly guides domestic and small business customers through the sign-up process and offers the most advantageous offer for each customer. Advanced OCR and machine learning eliminate most data entry. Simply scan your existing energy bill, and Galp has everything needed to provide the best quote for you and your property. Sign up then, or receive the quote by email and sign up later. Integration with electronic ID and digital signature makes the contract process quick, secure, and entirely paperless. Galp is increasing market share with a frictionless omnichannel onboarding experience that works on kiosks, web and mobile devices, and it is even integrated into the e-commerce and retail channels of Galp's business partners. Crucially, a reusable software architecture makes all the different channel experiences easy to maintain by minimizing technical debt. Developed entirely on the OutSystems platform, the first productive version of the app was delivered in just 2 months. Rapid iterative development was just what Galp needed to hone the user experience and optimize the customer journey. Small wonder, OutSystems is Galp's standard platform for customer experience transformation. OutSystems.
So we've just seen an example of really how developing with the modern application platform on the cloud can help you in customer onboarding. But the truth is, customer onboarding is just the beginning. As we've said earlier, it's about removing friction across your whole customer journey. And this requires you to not just attract customers, but also build all of the applications, the host of applications you need to retain them. Things like self-service portals, mobile apps, perhaps even voice and personal assistant apps, wearables, you name it. So there's a lot of applications that you need to build to fill your digital customer journey. So with onboarding, you can get started on this, and it can actually help you progress throughout your customer journey. What you can do with the platform is you can build reusable experience components. And these components can include anything from user interface to the application's business logic or processes that support it, data, how it's modeled, bundling data together from multiple systems, as well as integrations. So what you end up with are experience components that map to customer jobs or things that customers are trying to achieve and that you can reuse across applications and channels. So an example is, for example, how I authenticate myself in your application, or how I want to pay with my PayPal account, right? So that can be an experience component that you reuse across your entire customer journey. You can also kind of bundle these components together to create higher level components, such as create an account, which can be comprised of a fill ID information with an add to cart component, with a get confirmation component that, again, you can use across all channels. So you can very easily orchestrate these components. And as you've probably heard in our previous session, the more you build without systems, the less you have to build. Now, the other advantage of this is that something that's very critical for customer journeys is consistency, right? So if you have reusable experience components, you ensure that the way that I pay with my PayPal account is the same, the experience is the same, no matter the channel, or the way that I contact customer support is the same, which otherwise with traditional development is really hard to achieve. What this does also is you make a change in one of these components, and this change gets replicated automatically in every application that uses it. So you can see how, from an iteration perspective, this makes things so much easier. For example, our customer credibility said the reuse of components, so the experience components we were just talking about, means our developers don't have to spend time reinventing the wheel, right? So you can create those components once, and your developers will have more time to create new features, new developments, and provide those exceptional user experiences. What you end up with, and all that we've discussed up until now, is that to build your digital customer journeys, you go from having complex, siloed experiences, multiple development teams, multiple technologies, and you end up with frictionless and consistent journeys that delight your customers. And you build them using a single platform with reusable components that allows you to move at lightning speed. So we'd like to end this with some examples of customers across multiple industries who are already using OutSystems to deliver customer experience innovation. And another example from our customer Think Money of just the kind of delightful experience that you can achieve with the platform.
Right before your eyes. Step by step, you're on your way. You're welcome to a brighter day. Don't you know it feels good to be alive? You could be larger than life, bigger than the world, living out the hopes and dreams of every boy and every girl. You could fly higher than the sky, shine brighter than the stars. You could have all you ever wanted. Shoot the moon and reach for Mars, you know you could. Yeah, and times are changing everywhere. Do we dream and do we dare? It's up to you.
So we hope this got you inspired, and we hope that you enjoyed this session and that you've seen how you can use OutSystems and AWS to build CX apps for the cloud faster. So if you would like to learn more about the platform and talk to one of your experts, you can go to the link that's displayed on the screen. And you will also be sent an email, a follow-up email with some additional resources for you to explore. So thank you very much for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed the session.
Thank you.